Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is your boy Void Kage, and I am back with part 6 of What If Deku Was Snake Eyes. I don't have much to say at the start, I'll be going on a little rant in the end, so let's just get into the video. Now where we last left off, Izuku and Mr. Aizawa had a conversation with Izuku asking Mr. Aizawa to let him intern with him. Mr. Aizawa would have accepted Izuku's offer and they would be meeting up in ground beta. Now Mr. Aizawa would give Izuku a bunch of weights to put on, and yeah, Izuku would basically pick up from there. Put these on. Okay. One of those weights weigh at least 150 pounds. I want you to put two of them on your arms and two of them on your legs. As Izuku would do what he was told. And Mr. Aizawa would immediately start attacking Izuku, with Izuku dodging and evading some of Mr. Aizawa's punches and kicks, with a couple of them connecting to Izuku's head and body. Izuku and Mr. Aizawa would go on with this exercise for the rest of the day, with a couple hours passing when it will be lunchtime. Okay, you managed to evade for most of it, and you've picked up on my pattern. Now after lunch we'll start again. And Izuku would understand. Izuku understands the type of person Mr. Aizawa is. He doesn't like wasting time, and he is the type of person to want results instead of wasting time getting none. So Izuku would understand Mr. Aizawa's thought process. Mr. Aizawa would be impressed that Izuku managed to adapt to the weights that quickly, and he would think to increase the weight for the rest of the 3 days that he has Izuku interning with him. Now we would move on to the second day, with Izuku and Mr. Aizawa basically doing what they did for the first 5 hours on day 1, basically all day. But Mr. Aizawa would have increased the weights for today, being 250, with Izuku doing the same. But over the training period, Mr. Aizawa would have gotten a call from Backdraft saying that a couple of heroes will be staking out Hosu City to try and find the hero killer. So they wanted to know if they could have Mr. Aizawa's help in this, with Mr. Aizawa accepting. Him thinking that it would be good for Izuku to gain a bit of experience hunting down a villain, because he's noticed that Izuku most likely wants to be an underground hero like himself. With him accepting. Now for the rest of the day, Mr. Aizawa would be putting Izuku through a heavy training regimen, being 1,000 push-ups, 10-kilometer runs, 1,000 sit-ups, squats, and pull-ups, and mostly weighted exercises with lifting weights. Izuku would manage to get past Mr. Aizawa's training a lot, and Mr. Aizawa would use the last hour to try and teach Izuku how to use his scarf. Izuku would get a long way with his scarf because Izuku picks up on things quick, I guess. He picks up on things very quickly, so Mr. Aizawa wouldn't see a problem with him using the scarf. Izuku would manage to get it to not expert level within that hour, but he would be proficient in it for a person who just picked it up. He would be able to use it without a lot of flaws or any weaknesses in the style, with Izuku and Mr. Aizawa going on into the night, practicing with combat. Izuku using the scarf with Mr. Aizawa using the scarf as well, trying to see if Izuku could match Mr. Aizawa in proficiency. Izuku would lose in the first 5 rounds, but after the 6th round, Izuku and Mr. Aizawa would basically not be able to catch each other off guard, because Izuku had already adjusted, and he's brinking on getting to an expert level with the scarf. Mr. Aizawa would be impressed, but he wouldn't let it show. Now, on day 3, Mr. Aizawa and Izuku would do a basic rerun of all the training that they would be doing, and at night, or basically in the afternoon, Mr. Aizawa would bring Izuku along to Hosu City. Izuku being in his hero costume, and him and Mr. Aizawa walking around. If you're wondering where Izumi would be, just switch her out with Izuku. She would be training with Gran Torino. Now, Izuku and Mr. Aizawa would meet up with Backdraft and the rest of the heroes, and they would be searching throughout the entirety of Hosu City when the Nomus would attack. With Izuku breaking off from Mr. Aizawa, helping people where he can, and taking down at least 2 Nomus with his weapons. Izuku would manage to stumble across Stain and Ida after he was caught by a flying Nomu, and it would have been carrying him over the building, where Izuku would have took his sword and ran it through the Nomu's skull, piercing the Nomu's brain and killing it. Izuku would land on the building, where he would hear Ida and Stain talking, and would see Stain stab Ida in his arm, and then walking up to Native to try and end him. Izuku would jump down with a downward sword strike directly at Stain's head, but with Stain's instincts, he would counter this attack with Izuku moving in the shadows, because there isn't much light in the alleyway that they are. And with his costume being black and a darkish color silver, he would be very hard to see for a normal person, but Stain isn't normal. Stain would try and get Izuku to talk, but when Izuku's in his costume, he doesn't talk all that much. So Izuku would just listen to Stain's little rant, and Izuku would have freed Ida, or freed Native. If you're wondering how he did that, he would take a shuriken, throwing it to the rope, and allowing Native to escape. But Native would take Ida with him. Now, when Stain was trying to attack Native and Ida, Izuku would parry Stain's attacks and fight back very easily, with Native and Ida getting out of his way. Izuku would then pull out his other sword and rush Stain, with Stain doing the same. The two of them will have a pretty epic fight, with Stain being overwhelmed at the end by Izuku's unpredictable movements, with Stain being caught off guard, but then he would quickly adjust. Now, Izuku would have gathered from the cut marks from Ida and Native that Stain's quirk has something to do with him cutting him, so Izuku would not allow Stain to even graze him with his sword, but he would manage to graze Stain. Now, Stain would kick Izuku to the back of the alley, with Izuku losing his swords, with Stain going in for the kill, with Izuku taking out his short sword that he carries on his lower back, and parrying Stain's attack, shoving the sword in one of Stain's hands, rendering that hand useless for the moment. Stain will be enraged and rushes Izuku, with Izuku pulling out his plasma pistol and shooting Stain, but he wouldn't shoot him enough to hurt him to an extent where he would die. He just shot him in his other hand to make that hand unusable for now. Stain would use his mouth to draw out the blade that Izuku stuck in his left hand, and took the blade into his left hand and rushed at Izuku again, with Izuku shooting him basically on his other hand and his legs as well. Izuku would then stomp Stain's head on the floor, knocking him out. Izuku would find a rope in a garbage can close by, wrapping up Stain and carrying him out of the alleyway. He would throw Stain out of the alley, with him sensing that a Nomu was close by. The Nomu would swoop down, grabbing Izuku again, but this time instead of Stain saving him, it would be Aizawa. Aizawa would grab the Nomu with a scarf, dragging it down to the floor, slamming its head into the ground. With Izuku getting loose, Izuku would take a shuriken from out of his pouch and stabbing the Nomu in his brain, then using his boots to stomp the shuriken down into the Nomu's skull. If you're wondering how the shuriken didn't pierce through Izuku's shoes, it's basically... his shoes is basically made out of what his shoot style shoes are made out of in canon, so they can't be pierced through by anything. Basically reinforced steel bottoms. That's basically it. Instead of brain fart. Instead of endeavor getting credit for capturing Stain, it would be Aizawa. Everyone would find out that the Eraser hero Eraserhead managed to capture Stain along with his intern that accompanied him on that day. Izuku wouldn't be in as much trouble as he was in canon because he managed to hold off Stain according to the report that Native gave, and he would be let off the hook, but Ito would still be reprimanded. This time Todoroki wasn't involved. Now, we get to the first day back at school. Everyone would still be excited about the whole Stain being taken down thing. And Izuku would get a lot of attention from everyone in class, especially Izumi, because she was close by when the attack happened, but she didn't get to talk to him. Izuku would be remaining quiet, just ignoring everyone. As soon as Mr. Aizawa had gotten into the class, everyone would have been quiet. Okay, everyone. Nice to see you again. I hope you guys had learned a lot on your internships. But today, you will be having a bit of hero training with All Might. I'm just here to take attendance, and I hope you guys do well. Everyone would wonder why Mr. Aizawa is being so optimistic, but Izuku basically told Mr. Aizawa over the couple of days where he was interning with him that he should be more optimistic towards his students to motivate them better, and he was taking that advice into consideration. Everyone would be dressed in their hero costumes, with everyone basically doing the race that they did in canon. Izuku would be up against Bakugo, Ida, and Izumi. Everyone would expect either Izumi and Bakugo to get to the finish first, but as soon as All Might said go, Izuku would immediately grab on to a high ledge with his claw shots. I don't remember if you guys know that he has those, but he would grab up with his claw shots and getting up to a ledge. He would then jump off that ledge using the binding scarf that he got from Mr. Aizawa to maneuver around all of the obstacles. Basically like a Spider-Man without a web. If you've seen what Shinso did with his, that's basically what Izuku's doing with his at the moment. Izuku would get first place with Izumi getting second, with Katsuki getting third, with Ida getting fourth. Now, the day would go on as normal with everyone finding out about the final exams. Everyone would be panicking, and then they would hear from a third year that they would be, like I said, Class 1A and Class 1B would have heard that they would be fighting robots, so they wouldn't take it as seriously. But Izuku, being Izuku, he would train and try and get as much training in for this exam because he was expecting the unexpected. And that is where I'll be leaving off this video. As you guys can see in the video production, I don't really know where to go with this series. That's why I've been dropping a lot of series that I've made. I don't know which direction to go with them, but I'll try and get as far as I can with them. Toon Force will be coming out tomorrow because I still have to finish the script for that one. That is the only What If I Ever script. So yeah, I'm trying to take as much time with that, even though it will only be 15 minutes like all my other videos. I'll try and get to perfection so you guys don't kill me in the comments. Anyway, it has been your boy, Void Kage, and I will see you guys next